See, I want to film vlogging videos, but this is the farthest I can get it to zoom out on selfie mode, and this just seems slightly too close. Am I not correct? Like, we don't need to be this up and personal. This week has been great. I really, really enjoyed the reading and the writing.
Sun and Her Flowers by Ruby Carr. I have such an interesting relationship with her. I read her years ago, and she was the first poet I ever read and the first poet that made me believe that I could be a poet. And I don't even want to qualify all of the things that people say about her poetry because, yes, some of it is very simplistic, but I think that a lot of people's poetry is very simplistic in some ways, and some of them are too ridiculous. And even though every poem does not work for me, I do think that she has a beautiful way of capturing emotion in a poetic way. And I think that's all you need. I love the part here that talks about her roots and her family and how she stands on the accomplishment of every woman before and how we want to make that path. We want to make women of the future beat us in every accomplishment. I love when she talks about heartbreak and when she says, I could have been anything in the world, but I wanted to be his. Like those, not shying away from those feelings where sometimes we don't think that we can coexist in this way, that we can admit to being completely broken by a breakup or completely broken by those things, but also about how beautiful we are as women. And I really, really love this collection. The first half worked better for me. I struggled with the love poems. I don't know. I've always struggled with love poems. I can't write my own love poems just because it's not that I've never been in love with someone. I've never been that fluffy. And normally I don't write prose, but I've been in love. So even simple things like this. What does love look like? The therapist asks 1 week after the breakup. And I'm not sure how to answer her question, except for the fact that I thought love looked so much like you. That's when it hit me and I realized how naive I had been. It's things like that they are short and yet poetic, and I really, really appreciate them. And I'm very shiny. And I think it's a phone. I don't know if this makes it better. I feel like I'm saying this shiny, which makes me happy. And so the next one I read was Wayne Ventures. Nope. Still? I'm so shiny. We're just gonna... No, I think the lighting was worse. Then I read Wayne Family Adventures, and one of the things that you can put your clocks by is that I love Batman and I love the Bat Family, and whenever I read Batman I just feel really, really happy, and I felt that way. I really enjoyed the fact the character development and the things that dive into it. There is a video on Casually Comics that was why I went and read it, and I really loved it. It goes through many of the really emotional things with Cass, who's an assassin who has all these feelings. It goes through the feelings of coming to your own sexuality. There's so many different aspects that are really well done, with also just goofiness and family and the moments that trauma, with also making fun of the genre of superhero bingo, with all of the fact that they're all talking about the ways they've been killed and stuff and resurrected, but also the sadness of there. And I really love it, and the fact that they show that beneath all of them there's a family relation, because that's the thing that I miss in the adaptations. I miss in a lot of things when they choose to make Batman this solo hero, or someone I don't know. I don't want to read about a solo hero. That's why I love Batman. I love the fact that he has these heroes around them, and that there's a moment in which Jason Todd, who's one of the younger Robins, is talking to Dick Grayson about the fact that he doesn't have to go and care for everyone because he showed them how family is, and now the rest of the family can help him. And I really loved that. And that's canonically, even when you read 80s Batman, it will talk about how Bruce was so focused on making sure that Dick didn't end up hurt like him, didn't end up with this trauma, and that that's why Dick Grayson is one of my favorite characters of all time. So it made me so happy. And then I read The Umbrella Academy because I am watching season 3 of Umbrella Academy, which the first 2 seasons were one of my favorite shows. I'm not enjoying the third season as much, and I thought maybe if I read the comics, because I read the third comic in 2019, kind of when the first show came out, and I did not like it. And I remain that I didn't like it. I think it has some really stereotypical things that are just not great. I don't love the way that women are depicted, and I don't like the fact that they have one South Asian character who's named once and is a butler and is just serving in random scenes, does not have a single thing of dialogue. He's just there. And he is the only person of color in the entire book. Yeah. That's a lot. And I know it's 2006, but that's no excuse. And yeah, and it's not even that. I will bring up those elements as being problematic, but the writing together is not very good. I don't find the characters very deep or emotional. But I have Dallas, and Hotel Oblivion, and I hope that they will inspire me more, because I do really want to love season 3, but I think that I'm having the same issue where the characters are a little bit more character and they're a little bit less nuanced. Like they're spending less time together and they're not getting along as much, and like they always don't get along. But I think that in here they're like fighting more for the sake of fighting rather than like having nuanced discussions when they're fighting. As I said, Lady Chatterley's lover is there, and I'm reading Obit by Victoria Chang, and some of it is repetitive. It goes through all the ways that she's died in relation to her parents' death and like how memory dies and how all of these things die, and it got a little repetitive after time, but also it's hard for me. There's been a lot of grief and a lot of death and a lot of illness this year, and I think in some ways it may just be the book where like I have a harder time engaging with it fully because of what that takes emotionally to engage with it. So I think I'm a little more distanced, but I want to finish it. I'm almost done it. You can't really see because you can't really see because it's so zoomed in, but it is, which says, "Be fun like Amy, be smart like Jo, be kind like Meg, be brave like Beth." And I got this specifically because it said "be brave like Beth," and I loved that. The play that I saw of Little Women at Stratford Festival was amazing. I really, really liked the characters. I thought, I'm forgetting her name. Her last name is Edwards. Is it Amelia Edwards? I don't think it's Amelia Edwards, but her name was Edwards, and she was such a great Jo. They did the first Mr. Brooke that I ever like loved. Like they did such a great job of like the enthusiasm and the happiness and all of that. It was so well done. I would really recommend it, and like when it comes out on DVD, and such a novel way when also making it like grounded in the reality of the moments, and I thought it was just really well done. And that's where I'm going to leave it for the week. To let me know what you've been reading and watching, what you've been doing to explore. Let me know if you have different thoughts about these books. I feel like I have fairly strong opinions about all of them, so I would love to hear your thoughts, and happy reading and writing. So for context, Dick Grayson is probably one of my favorite characters in all creation. The context of this scene is that Tim, who is a younger Robin, the third Robin, is kind of angry because Nightwing constantly runs off with other things and leaves him. And Jason is not giving him a prep talk because Jason is all angsty. He's the second one who died and has lots of trauma and stuff. But he's like, "But what happens when someone asks for me?" Because he's telling him to have boundaries. "There are about 50 people in this family, and at the rate that Bruce adopts kids, we'll have 100 by next week. Point is, when someone needs something, it doesn't always have to be you. One of us can fix it. The rest of us, I mean, not me, obviously. I'm super busy, but the others can lend a hand. You already showed us how to be a family. Now we just want you to be a part of it." I love that he's the big brother. I love that he takes care of them. And that, like, he is very. Because all of the others have their own things. But the big part of Dick is that, like, Bruce saved him because he wanted him not to have the angst that he does. And he doesn't, and he's the best of them. And I love him so much.